Hey folks, Dude here. Well, it's another episode of Knife Blog. Oh, this week's episode of Knife Blog is going to be... no, it's not going to be an M9 Probus bayonet, but I actually do have some means and methodologies, so just follow along with here just for a few minutes, okay? It'll all make sense just in a little bit. Okay, so basically you have the M9 Probus bayonet, which is your standard, or just your M9 bayonet, which is a standard military bayonet that is being fielded currently. And the reason being is because it has the appropriate size ring that fits the flash hider and the M16 and, of course, the 249 saw. If you want to hang, well, a bayonet on the end of a 17, 18-pound machine gun, have at it. But there's a reason why I'm introducing the video with this guy. And I can show you this is an actual M9 Probus bayonet. You can see it's got, Probus 3, so it's a little later in the vintage. Basically what it is, it's a ice-hardened blade, very prominent fuller groove, and the cool part is the sheath actually does do what they say it's supposed to do. If you look at it, it has the notch in the bottom there, and what happens is you take this guy, you proceed to engage this guy, you intersect it on the hole on the sheath, and then you proceed to snip thusly. So you never wish to use the actual cutting edge of the blade, you wish to use the spine. And it actually has been used like that before, so this is no beauty queen, okay? This is actually a piece that's been used, and it is exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Now, the kicker is basically the way the sheath is built on these things. You do have a quick release, and it pops off your belt, so you then can utilize this, to cut barbed wires or other things and all the good stuff like that there. There is a screwdriver at the end, so like tightening the stock on your buttstock or your M16 or something or others. There is a built-in sharpening stone. And it does have numerous lashing points, and these do come with pouches. Pouch probably carry maybe something not much bigger than maybe like a light stick or something. It's not the biggest pouch. It'll definitely fit like a Swiss Army knife or like a buck folder, lock blade, what have you. All that stuff will fit. I mean, these things are actually very well engineered in that regard. The handles will beat you to death. This one's actually very well worn in. You can see it's actually pretty smooth. This is actually a very well used specimen. There's almost no bluing left on the guard. There's almost no bluing left on the catch. All that stuff is well broken in. It's been used. And there's a reason why I introduced with this piece right here. This is going to be the latest instance of what is the namesake of this video, which is... oh, man. The namesake of this video actually is the Buckmaster. Now, this one is what's known as a post-patent, because it actually is a Buckmaster. You can see right there it says Buckmaster right on the blade, and it actually does have on the driver's side, it actually does show the patent number. It also shows it's being as number 184. Construction on it is basically it has a bolt going through, and it goes to a hollow handle. The butt cap is, well, the butt cap is a butt cap. It's basically just, it's a hollow handle with a screw-on butt cap, and it does actually have this guy to tie things onto, because you can take the little pins out. Well, some people put them in the handle, but they really rattle and make a real racket like that if you put them on board. So let me just give you a quick demo here how this thing actually works. This was actually designed to be used by the U.S. Navy SEALs. Now, there's a reason why the Navy SEALs rejected this thing, and it's a very simple word called weight. Also, this thing is actually, you're taking your knife, you're using it as a grappling hook, beating the edge up, throwing it with the bayonet, or the scabbard. It's kind of not great stuff. I mean, you're throwing away a weapon you probably should have handy at all times. You never should throw away a perfectly good knife, and it was rejected by the SEALs because of that. So the long and the short is, yes, the pins do work. The pins actually do screw into a very, very thick guard. The guard is about a 1/4 inch thick. It is ridiculously heavy duty. The spine on this is about a 1/4 inch, if not more. The saw is useless. The false edge is sharpened with a serrated edge. It will cut like crazy, because it is pretty sharp. Is it as sharp as the actual cutting surface? No. This is actually what's known as a patent version. The non-patent version is going to be this one. This is the pre-patent, and I actually do have one also in black. They did actually come with a rotating bezel Silva compass, so, point your driver going back and forth. I'm incorrect on that one, but it actually did come with a rotating bezel Silva compass. The later ones did come with a non-rotating Silva compass. I guess what happened was it was just like finances, and they told Buck, it's going to cost X amount per, a really nice little compass, or just light, less for not quite as nice a compass, but still fits in the same pouch. The pouches are ridiculous, okay? If you're to buy this pouch on eBay, it's about $70. It is insane what they get for these things. Now, if you're to see the logical progression, this would be a pre-patent. Notice it doesn't have the stamped-in flat section that says, this actually is quite an indent too, so they actually want to make sure you knew this was a Buckmaster. On this one, it does not have that. And this is an anodized black surface. This is a natural finish. This one being bead blasted, this one being anodized or passivity, protected or something like that. And if you look on the knife, it says Buck 184 K as in King, USA, Pat Penned. So this one has not been patented as of yet. I don't know if that's really going to show. I really don't have the best camera. I will improve that. But it does says Buck 184K, USA, Pat Penned. And it does say nothing on the other side. Now, this one rattles because the pins are actually in the handle. The handle is actually, well, let me see if I can get this sucker to break here. It actually has the pins on board are actually on this one, and this one actually are anodized black to go along with the black blade. The instance of some of these actually did have the compass on board in the butt cap, but if you think about it, a steel butt cap has got a compass on board. How effective is that going to be? Not flipping very. Now, the kicker is this thing is heavily overbuilt. I cannot tell you how much ass this thing has, but the wall thickness on this thing is not that thick. But between the massive construction of the thickness of the blade and all the rest of this falderall, this thing weighs a flipping ton. Let me try to get everything lined up here. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's just put this in perspective here. I'll play around here for 1 second. Both these guys together in concert, held side by side, is probably heavier than a Desert Eagle, okay? These are just massively heavy, overbuilt knives. So heavy, in fact, that the U.S. Navy SEALs said, sorry, not interested. That's saying something. These guys PT for fun. And the sheath on these is also not quite as well sophisticated. It is the same basic body, though, okay? It is exactly the same basic body as the M9 Frobus. Basically you have your pass-throughs, you got your pouch on board, you got your sharpening stone. These have built-in sharpening stones. It is exactly the same construction, okay? The sheaths are exactly the same. As a matter of fact, this one says Buck on the bottom. This one says Buck on the bottom. I don't know if it really shows with this camera, but it does say actually Buck on the bottom of the sheath. And it says Buck, Pat Penned. This one says Buck, Pat Penned. Obviously, you can see the patent went through because they got the patent number. So that's where that one came from. It actually does have a patent number on board. So, being patent number 4622707. So obviously the patent did go through and they did get their patents. Now, this is not quite so sophisticated as the M9 Frobus, but what happens is this loops over your belt. You have a Fast-Tex buckle, comes undone, slides out of your belt. You get done, you have to tuck it back under your belt, tuck it back around, click it back into place. Hopefully don't stab yourself with a knife as you're putting this thing back together. Now, if you were to see the logical progression of the family, let's just go from, well, oldest to newest, okay? You would have pre-patent. Try to get these in frame. You would go pre-patent to finally Probus. And I do say Probus. I actually spoke to a guy that actually worked on the staff that actually designed these things, wrote the book about them, and he was at one of the nation's gun shows over in Virginia. It's an excellent gun show, by the way, and he was telling me about the history of these things and the nuts and bolts about them and where they actually came from. The SEALs rejected the Buckmaster. They said it was entirely too massive, way too much mass, can't deal with it, just too much knife, can't deal with it, too much. How big are these things? Okay, well, to put them in perspective, they are very close overall to the Frobus M9. The Frobus M9 actually has a plastic handle with a through bolt, with a guard, and of course it actually has the lockup point for actually to fit into and work as a bayonet, because that's what it is. The actual construction on these guys is you have a through bolt going through, there's a screw inside with probably epoxy and what have you, there's a heavy guard, there's of course the handle, and of course you have a butt cap, and of course you have your tie down to make it into a grappling hook. Don't do that. But the actual construction on these things is very similar. Let's just go with some quick measurements, just, so I can keep myself honest here. I don't want to make this video too terribly long. But the construction on this thing is flat out massive. It's about a 1/4 inch. More than that, probably closer to, it's over a 1/4 inch, okay? I'm going to say it's probably, trying to remember my fractured math here. It's more than 3/8. It's more than a 1/4. It's closer to like 1/3 of an inch, man. It's just flat out massive. But let's just see blade length here real quick. The blade on this thing is going to be approximately a length of 7 1/2 inches of blade length. Okay, overall length of this knife is going to be in excess of 12 inches. Okay, 12 inches longer. 12 inches longer. Yeah, it's about 12 1/2 inches overall length. This is just a flippin' massive knife, okay? If you were carrying these things, you knew they were on your hip. But I want to give you guys kind of a heads up. So this is basically my homage to the Buckmaster. And of course, this video is requested by Beaker126. And let me give you my little tchotchke point here. If you guys request a knife and I use it in the video, you will get the freebie. That's right, you get the freebie. You get a 10% off coupon from my buddy over at Hydroprint Services down in Florida. He will hydroprint your stuff, make it look great. Go check out his website, Hydroprint Services. And if you get this as the featured thing, you get one of these cards. So you get 10% off his work. Good stuff. All right, folks, I'm going to break off of this one. Baker, buddy, you're getting one of these cards in the mail. Get your mailing address from PM and all good stuff like that there. I don't want to get these videos too terribly long, but this is the Buckmaster. And they never go cheap, folks, okay? Each of these knives is probably in excess of $300 on eBay right now. So if you want one, drag out the wallet and start crying. All right, I'm going to break off on this one. Eat good, keep it a 10 ring, and as always, knife goodness. Gotta love it. See you guys.